Today we're going to be exploring the measures of variability. If any point you need to stop this video, you just press the pause button and you can continue on when you're ready. When we're exploring the measures of variability in sports, what does it mean to be consistent and why does it matter? Well, in sports, a consistent player means that they're going to have the same results time and time again. They might not be the exact same, but it's going to be pretty close. And that matters because when you, as a coach, want your players to be consistent, you want to know what they are going to do every time they step up to kick that football. They step up to the plate to hit. They're a pitcher. You want them to be consistent. To be consistent means that an athlete or team's performances are very similar to each other. In other words, there is not much variability or spread in the team's or athlete's distribution of the performances. So how will each of these players in the different sports be considered consistent? In basketball, a consistent player will score the same number of points. In football, a consistent running back will gain about the same number of yards per game. So in football, a running back will gain the same number of yards per game. Sorry, not each game, but per game. In soccer, a consistent player or a consistent team will score the same number of goals per game. In track, a consistent sprinter will run about the same time in each game, or in each race. And in golf, a consistency perhaps could be the most important characteristics of a good player. Even more important could be how far or distance he or she can hit the ball. So how do you measure consistency? Well, there's a couple of different ways. We've already learned how to measure consistency two ways already, by using the IQR and the spread, or in other words, range. So let's consider the following example. This performance is two different baseball teams that each averaged 5 run scores per game. So we have team consistent and team inconsistent. If you look at team consistent, you have 5, 5, 4, 5, and 6. All those numbers are really, really close to 5, while 0, 1, 12, 10, and 2 are further apart from 5 than team consistent. As this example illustrates, knowing a team's average performance certainly doesn't tell the whole story. Both teams have the same average, but the first team was much more consistent because their individual performances were always very similar to the average performance. However, the second team's performances vary quite a bit from their average. Like I said earlier, there are many different ways to measure the variability in a distribution. The spread is easily calculated, but it can be greatly influenced by outliers. Remember, the spread is your max minus your min. That is your spread. The interquartile range excludes the lower and upper quartiles of the distribution. So it is more resistant to outliers. Remember, the interquartile range is also the IQR, which is Q3 minus Q2. I'm sorry, not Q2, Q1. My bad. Q1. Q3 minus Q1. But because it only measures the spread, that should be spread, it's a typo, of the middle half of the observations, it doesn't really tell us about the variability of the entire distribution. So the spread includes outliers, which can be a little off, and the IQR only gives us the variability of the middle half of the data, not this outer half. So we're going to learn how to use the mean absolute deviation. We want to go to the next slide.